We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world, there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich.
What's up, guys? So there's been a lot of information going around about ND filters. There's been a couple of great videos out there, one from Nurk and one from Ladrib, that really show you what an ND filter can do for your flight footage. So what I want to do today is actually take you through where you can go get some ND film yourself, how you can apply it to your GoPro, and what type of effects you should expect to see. So the point of adding an ND filter to your camera of any kind, whether it be a GoPro or a camera that you're just taking photographs with, is to reduce the amount of light that comes into your camera, thus allowing your camera to slow down its shutter speed, creating more motion blur in the edges, giving you more of that cinematic feel. There's a lot of options already out there to provide you an ND filter for your GoPro Session or even GoPro Hero 5 or 6. However, I have found the ones on Amazon to be pretty crappy. They're made of plastic and they're big and bulky, and they definitely won't survive a crash on your FPV rig. So I went out and I researched a whole bunch of different options about what we can use for ND material on our GoPro Session to try and find what works best. First, I started by ordering some of the ND options you can find on eBay. Both of these are stick-on options. This is an ND 8 and this is an ND 4. The material from these stick-on ND filters felt really familiar. In fact, when you separate the stick-on ND film from its clear backing, it's pretty obvious that this is actually just window tint film that they have pre-cut using a small metal die in the shape of a GoPro lens. So taking that into account, I went to my local O'Reilly's Auto Parts and picked up all the different window tints that they sell. So everything from a 35% light transmission, which means it lets 35% of the light through, all the way down to an executive limo tint, which lets 2.5% of the light through. So what I'm gonna do next is show you how these correlate to real ND values. So this window tint film from O'Reilly's comes in at least 4 different flavors, starting at 35% light transmission all the way down to 2.5% light transmission. So if we go to Wikipedia and we look up the corresponding ND value for each one of those percent light transmission numbers, we see that if it lets about 20% of the light through, that correlates to about an ND 4. If it lets 6.25% of the light, which is really close to the 5%, that is approximately an ND 16. And if it lets 2.5% of the light through, then that is somewhere between an ND 32 and ND 64. So what I have found in my experience is that the 5% light transmission is a good all-around, both cloudy and sunny day option for flying FPV. Now I'm going to show you how to apply this window tint film that you've purchased to your GoPro to create the ND filter effect. The things that you will need are some painter's tape, or literally any tape will do, and you won't need but just a little bit of it. You'll need a small cup or flat container that has water placed inside of it. I'll show you what this is for in just a minute. You'll need a lint-free cloth that you can, like glasses cleaner or anything else like that, and a small squeegee. I know this is huge. You can also use a credit card. I just happen to like this because it has a soft plastic edge and it's easier to squeegee across. So the first thing we need to do is to clean the lens of the GoPro, making sure that there is not any dust or any other particulate on it, because that will cause bubbles in our applied film. Next, what we want to do is, I like to leave it covered just so that there's no dust that lands on it while I'm working. Next, you'll need 2 small pieces of tape. Seriously, they can be this small. And you'll place one on the outside and one on the inside of the film. Because what this is going to do is this allow you to pull the 2 apart much easier. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to take your GoPro, lens down, and you're literally going to put it right into the water. Don't worry, it's waterproof, it can handle it. And swirl it around a little bit. So what you're going to want to do is see that the lens is completely wet. Then what you're going to do is you're going to pull your window tint film apart from its clear backing, and you're gonna lay the window tint film into the water, swirling it around. Want to get it nice and wet. Then what we're gonna do is just lay it across the top of the GoPro, put my finger just right in the center, get the squeegee that we have a little wet, or you could even just take your finger and put some water on top. And then what you'll want to do is just squeegee it out, heading from the center out to the edges.
just like this, across the entire GoPro. Taking a little bit more water when you can. Keep it nice and slick. I like to look in the light a little bit to see if there are any bubbles. So it looks like there's a little water right there. Great. So I know it's really hard for you to see, but the material has been appropriately affixed to the lens and it doesn't look like there are any bubbles. So that's wonderful. The next thing we're gonna do is just let this sit. Let it sit for about 10 minutes to allow the water to evaporate from on the top and inside between the material and the lens. So if we were to go about cutting this right now, the edges of it that are attached just at the very peripheral of the glass lens protector will easily lift off, making it so that you don't have a good seal on the edges, which can cause light leaks, or in worst case, you'll have to redo this all over. So I'll be back in 10 minutes to show you how to finish up the end of it. All right, guys, I'm back. It's been about 10 minutes just to let the adhesive film dry to the camera. Next, what I want to do is I want to review, make sure it's got a good stick, make sure everything looks good, and then run my finger along the edges where the GoPro lens ends. And what that will do is that will create a nice little marker so that when I go back around, door is open, oops, there we go. Pull that back off, there we go. So when I go around now with my X-Acto knife, I'll be able to see the exact line where the lens ends, and I will simply run the X-Acto knife all the way around, just like so. What you're looking for is the tip of your knife to fall in that little groove between the lens and the outer case. Then next, you just gently pull away the extra material that you cut off, making sure that it doesn't lift up what you don't want it to. Clean it off a little bit. It's just some little extra water that the lint-free rag is not getting off. And there you go. A ND filter applied that was super easy, took just a few moments, easily replaceable. And if your lens gets busted, you don't have to spend a bunch of money to order another one off Amazon. You got, again, a whole roll of this stuff that'll work for you. Please be sure to leave some comments if there was any questions you'd like for me to answer. And always remember, like and subscribe.